Okay, people, look what I got on. Anyway, I will put this first. June 20th, 2020. Somebody called out, where's my, well, they actually, called me Marax. Where's my Marax hat? Something like that. Marax. Andre and I, we went to go shopping for jars. And then as we were walking, we wanted to go see if the bottle depot was open, which I don't think it is, people. Right? You know, gotta keep those poor people in poverty. Right? You know, make it real hard for them, right? You know, God forbid if they make $1 a day collecting pop cans. But anyway, maybe it was just closed today in the afternoon, even though it's a Saturday, which I highly doubt. That it was just closed for the day. It probably hasn't even reopened. Anyway, we went to go see if it was open because I wanted, I want to do things with Andre, right? With pop cans. And I said to Andre, even if, don't have a ride, we can walk, right? So we walked to go see. And as we were walking, people, there was this little rally going on. So, of course, I hung around, checked it out. I even had my say on the matter. Only I'm coming in on a different angle with it, right? Where with the rally, they were more, it was more geared around the housing crises that namely affect the poorest of the poor who are either at the stage of being homeless, or have been homeless off and on periodically, because that's what happens for a lot of people, or people who are facing homelessness, because apparently some of these modules that the New Democrat Party, NDP, brought in back in 2018 or whenever it was, right, which it was something that Ciera never got, people. There was a lot of people who never got these little units. But anyway, I guess some of them are closing up because the property developers are ready to build their high-rises now. Right? They only put those modules there temporarily until the property developer, the one that's making a 35, 45 story high-rise, is ready now to build. So they want to get rid of the modules, this housing that homeless people are living in. And of course, there's a lot of issues around that. Deaths related to fentanyl, whether by accident, which is not by accident, people, it's by design, or by hot capping, which is murder, right? The point is there's going to be an overflow of people facing homelessness again in the near future, with promises that they'll be housed somewhere else at a different location, farther away from their place of residence, which is Wally, out in this area, because of the gentrification process. I call it political genocide, right? Which is a form of gentrification, only it's deeper than gentrification. It becomes a genocide, right? Now, I was out there, I recorded several people talking, whatever. I asked if I could get up and say something, so they ended up doing free mic, so when that time came, I went up and I said something. Can you see my hat? Right? I mean, obviously, I put some spin on it. I was talking about illegal organ harvesting and how fentanyl is being run through our communities and our health minister with the, that Dr. Bonnie Henry, right, are skewing the numbers by trying to blend them together subliminally so that people misinterpret that, there's not 700 people dying from COVID-19. It's only 161 out of 5.2 million, with the majority, 70% or more, that relate directly to the elderly, with the majority of those dying from care homes. Okay. I didn't get into full detail with it. And a lot of those people out there, of course, they knew Ciera. They didn't know what to say. Right? So by the time I was done, I got, a few little claps. I wasn't there to get claps. Although I kind of just, it's been a long time since I've got up in front of a crowd, and actually started to talk about issues that need to be dealt with that coincide with something like this. Okay, you can see that, right? And, anytime you talk about illegal organ harvesting, the targeting of vulnerable people, targeting of families, luring, snuff movies, right? Underground economy, it makes people feel uncomfortable because as you're growing up, you're taught that Canada is based on ethics, morality, kindness. We look after each other. So, we don't like to believe that we're not that way as Canadians, or that other Canadians are that way, when as a Canadian we shouldn't be. And then to know or to hear that it's actually coming from our government service workers that are preying on us and capitalizing off of our misery and manufacture that poverty so that, one, they have self-esteem because they have a job and they're better than you, and and they work, and right? So right there, their self-esteem is up there on top of, they're making good money corralling the cattle, right? They're making good money harvesting the cattle for the ones that are harvesting us. And there's a bandful, because this is being paid for by public tax dollars, as public facilities like hospitals are being used specifically for that purpose. And of course, if these people are facing homelessness or are homeless, the last thing that they want to hear is that they're being hunted down for their organs, which puts more fear into their situation, being that once you get into that trap, you can't really get out, because the people that control the trap keep you there. So anyway, I'm going to go back. I guess they gather on Tuesdays or something. I'm going to go back and I'm going to show my support, because maybe I'm not homeless, people. But you know what? This shenanigans with this gang stalking that relates to Uncle John, that relates to the murder and the illegal organ harvesting of ShaMay, that relates to whatever happened to Ciera with that shady shit, right? What happened to Amari in terms of Fraser Health Authority staff retaliating against my family for fighting for Uncle John, right? So on and so on. I face homelessness myself. How many times have the city instigated the eviction of my family from a home that I've been working in terms of this yard, for 10 years, right? To make it much better than it ever was in terms of mud, weed, grit, sand, raccoon shit, and a bunch of rocks. Okay? And morning glory. But of course, people don't care about that. What they care about is having another family to prey upon. And if they cut off the neck of the mother, then it's easy to prey on what's around her. And they've been trying to cut off the neck of me for a long, long time, people. Right? So I don't know what's going to happen when I get back up on the bandwagon supporting homeless initiatives, fighting for the people. And it's not that I'm just fighting for the people. I'm also fighting for my family, my remaining family. Okay? Right? Because what these people here are talking about doesn't just directly affect homeless people. It affects families and people such as my own. Right? How I'm going to show this group, I don't know if it's I don't know exactly what it is, but how I'm going to show them support, I don't know. I just know they call themselves the Red Braid Alliance. I just know that it's important that I stand up and say something. Right? So I'm going to put this, and then I'm going to put that little rally. But before I do that, I just want to say, as we were leaving, Andre and I and Amari, to go get jars and some groceries or whatever I was going to do, right? What do you call it? This old man started following me in his car. And then he drove up and he says, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, sorry for what? Oh, that your grandson had to hear that. I said, hear what? What is it that he heard that was so bad, right? In terms of enough to make you follow me, right? Just some old white guy, right? In some little cart, right? And he goes, oh, you know, language. And I'm, language? What? The people swearing? Like, you know, people getting loud? You know, like, seriously, buddy, you need to pay attention to what's going on in your life, because the way I'm looking at you, first of all, you're old, you're white, right? You obviously have some kind of assets because you're driving a car. But what's going to happen when you sprain your ankle or stub your toe and end up in the hospital, right? And they decide that they want your house, right? You'll never get released because you're going to be put into an old folks home. Because you're the classic individual that they're targeting in this province at this point in time. Right? Are the Caucasians, whether male or female, as long as they've got property, those are the ones, the elderly Caucasians, who are being targeted for their assets. Right? And if there's a means for these people that work in a public hospital to medically kidnap that elderly person, that elderly Caucasian person, so that those assets can be seized, right? Whether it's through the public guardian and trustee or whether it's through a crooked family member, the point is that individual will lose their assets and be forced into an old folks home, have to pay for it because they've got the money. That's why they want them, right? Well, the other poor ones that are Caucasian, that are out on the street, zero. They are left out on the streets. And they have to face what little housing that they have being demolished, so 45-story high-rises can be built, so that we've got thousands and thousands and thousands of more immigrants moving into British Columbia, Canada, right, from wherever they come from, filling up all those little suites, paying extra money for all those fake universities that I was just talking about, that the BC Liberal government signed into existence, threw out 14 colleges, and as fast as they threw out 14 colleges, they changed the name and signed in 14 universities, and then they brought in thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of immigrant workers. Well, that too, but I meant to say immigrant students to fill up those universities. And when I said to this old man in this car that he needs to be paying attention, right, that the majority of these people that are working in these hospitals out here are from other countries. They're not even Canadian-born people, right? Because the government brings in foreign workers to fill the gap with just the senior staff, the senior union staff running the show, right? You know what he said about that, people? Oh, well, that's because Canadians don't want to work. They don't want to work in the hospitals. I said, are you nuts? That's what I said. I said, you got that backwards, buddy. I said, my daughter wanted to be a nurse, but it was the public school system that steered her away from that. And because of that, she is now dead. Okay? So, then he goes, well, because I said, well, you better make sure your paperwork is in order. You know, before you tell me that I should be, like, you know, worrying about my grandson, I think you need to be more worried about yourself, unless, of course, you're just one of those gang stalkers that are giving me a message that I shouldn't be bringing my grandson to this little public rally that actually affects my family, people. Okay? You know, they don't want you talking about the abuse that they throw at you because it exposes them. If the city come and start harassing me in the back of a little teeny weeny fucking patch that's not even 3 feet by 3 feet that's in front of my fucking car, and I lose my house because of that, because they want to sell this fucking house to make more money, so that the whole block can be ripped out, right? So that they can sit up there and blame me for being homeless because of their greed, of their gluttony, over a 3-foot patch of grass? Because the political agenda is to get rid of the poor people in Surrey? Because somehow, by getting rid of us, that's going to secure the mayor and the city bylaw officers, the police, the RCMP, and all the government employees, pensions. They don't care. As long as their fucking paychecks and their pension plans and their disabilities and blah, 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 blah is all paid for, then they don't care what happens to you people. So, whether I bring the grandkids or not, which more than likely I will, right? It's outside. It's in front of legitimate businesses. Nobody's committing any crimes. Half those people know me already, right? Know I've been out there for years fighting for the right cause, but also know that as I'm fighting, my family is being attacked, targeted, lured, and snuffed out, and then harvested. Right? And I'm not going to stay quiet on it, people. I'm not. Because for the ones that don't know what's going out there and are living out there, they need to know. They need to know that when they go to bed at night, what's over them in terms of somebody going, ching, 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 ching. Well, if this person dies, we get to save this much money on our welfare rolls. Plus, you know, we get to take out this and take out that. And, geez, just think if they got really nice teeth, you know, we can get an extra $5,000 for that set, right? Because how much did they get for ShaMay's teeth, people? ShaMay had a strong set of teeth. All her teeth are fucking gone. What did they do with her teeth, people? I'd like to know. What was it used for a necklace? Right? Or did they put them in somebody's mouth? Did they put them in a university fucking lab room? Like, what did they do with my daughter's teeth, people? I'd like to know. These people need to know. Because one day it's going to be them, because it has been them. Ciera is the example of that. So anyway, I'm just giving you a little introduction to this little rally. I'll see if I can find a link for this. They've got quite a bit of information in here. Somebody young that has the energy to type. Kind of reminds me of me when I was young. But after a while, you get discouraged because the corruption runs deep, right? You know? Okay, so June 20th, 2020. I don't know what's going on down here, but there's a bunch of signs. Andre and I, we're going to the thrift store. Yeah, we're checking out. We just wanted to see if first of all, the recycling depot was open.
It's right there.
Because we don't know. But we noticed there's a little something going on out here. They just stay there.
They're just people,
Come
right?
over here.
No. But as a class, as a group, they're an invading and hostile force. Even if they're nice to your face, their very presence in this community drives up property values and pushes low-income people out. So, as a group, as a class, structurally, there are enemies. So all these people, the condo buyers and developers, the cops,
this is up
the
my alley.
officers, the social workers,
it's up my alley.
The mayor and council, they're the people we're defending Wally against. So who are the people that we're defending Wally for then? Who are we defending Wally for? The thing is, it's not just one single group. The people who are threatened, who are immiserated, who are displaced, the people who lose their dignity, their freedom, their homes and their lives because of gentrification, these people are multiple. They're the indigenous people who are fighting for their sovereignty and their land. They're the black people who are fighting for their lives and liberation. The people of color who are fighting against racism. The migrants who are displaced from their homes internationally because of imperialism, because of war, and because of occupation, who are fighting for sanctuary. And they're all of our low-income communities, our street kids, that's fighting for survival. So we should remember that our multiplicity is our strength. Our multiplicity is our strength, and we're here together.
It's a blockade.
Gentrification to stop displacement.
Turn around. Turn around. We might be small, but we're powerful. Turn around.
He's a member of Red Braid, and he's going to talk to everyone here about Mayor McCallum's plan to push low-income residents out of the neighborhood and hand Wally over to the rich.
So this is the way it happens here in Wally and many other places.
Nana wants to go a little
Talk about
closer. I can't hear.
Gentrification is a
Come on, Andre.
process by which rich people move into lower income neighborhoods, buy up the land, and develop it for themselves and move in. And that's what's happening here in Wally. So the clearance of the strip in 2018 was because they needed to clear this area off from homeless people in order to gentrify, in order to build these condos. And so this is the way in which these things unfold. So they leave the area of Wally as a low-income area, place where there's like 5 shelters, there's 3 modular housing projects, people are sleeping on the streets and in the bushes. They leave this area undervalued, under-resourced, where people gather because this is where the services are. And because of that, the land values drop. Then rich people say, oh, I can make more money. I'm going to come in and buy the land for cheap and build high-rises for rich people, and I'm going to walk to the bank with billions of dollars in my pocket. So that's the process. And the city has a bunch of city planners that say, hey, let's turn Wally into a beautiful downtown.
We're at a little mini protest, people.
And in order to do that, we've got to get rid of everybody who's can't afford to live here. We got to get rid of people who otherwise have made this their home. This has been their home for generations. And so this is the combination of city planners, corporate developers, and people who want this neighborhood transformed into something that it isn't, something that isn't for people who are working class and low income. So they cleared this strip, and at the far end, you notice the Legion is gone. There's a big hole in the ground.
Oh,
There's going to be a couple of towers there.
Wow.
And right here, right beside where we're set up here, there's a 50-story tower going in there.
Oh, wow.
So this is the kind of gentrification that's going on. At the TD mods, they're going to be removed for 3 towers, ranging from anywhere from 35 to 45 stories. This means everybody's going to get pushed out because the values of the land go up and no one can afford anything here. All these places here that I've been here for a long time, the owners are pressured to sell. They'll get paid out big for their land. And the whole process means, among other things, that in order to remove people, we need to bring in more cops, more bylaw, more private security, and make sure that people are completely out of this area.
More gang
stalking. And the little bit of housing that they're going to give you is not going to be here. It's going to be scattered all over the place. And so a community that is here, that's strong, that looks after one another, is going to be scattered. And one of the things that's very curious, I realized the other day, there are 3 social housing projects being built right now underway in Surrey. 2 of those are within half a block of a police station. This is the kind of thing that they're doing. They construct people who live here, low-income folks on the street, they construct them as criminals, and then they promise everybody else, the business owners, the property owners, we'll keep you safe. We'll keep you safe from this unruly lot, and we're going to put you right by setting up housing that is really a kind of soft incarceration, and we're going to locate it next to police stations. This is the project that is going on behind the scenes that's emerging now as these signs come up. And this is why we have to fight to defend Wally from this process of gentrification and for the displacement of people for whom this has been home and this has been their community for a long time.
Thanks, Dave. So I want to invite people who are still out on the sidewalk into that lot over there onto the street to show the cops that we're resisting collectively to build our confidence together onto the street. I'll lead you all in a chant. I'm going to say, home's not cops. Home's not cops.
Home's not cops.
Home's not jails.
Home's not jails.
Home's not cops.
Home's not cops.
Home's not jails.
Home's not jails.
Let's show them that we're ready to resist. We're ready to resist the City Hall's plan to move developers into the neighborhood, to build condos, to sell Wally off to the rich. And we know that they use the cops as the front lines in the war against the poor. So let's stop them from doing that today and clearing our action. So everyone who wants to, everyone who can, step onto the street. We'll be safer together.
Died, right? Yeah. Will you let me say something? Oh, yes, she will. Yeah? Yes, she will. Excuse me, can I say something?
We've got a list of speakers, so when we're done, okay?
Okay, then.
Is that okay?
She's done.
So everyone out onto 130 45A Street, which is a site of the Surrey Strip that was...
So we'll see how long I got on this camera.
The former mayor of
Let this lady
the strip
talk.
here. And I know it's been hard for everybody. I'm glad you guys came out to show your support because what bylaw the cops and Lookout Society promised y'all didn't happen. All they did was cause more deaths for people, more people out on the street being homeless. I just want you guys all to remember that we're here. You know, we're not going to go away. And I'm here to help to support you guys in any way I can and show you that I care still, because I do. And we're not going to let the bylaw who's down there and those lovely officers down there come over here and disrupt us and move us along and tell us to go away, because we're not going away. Wally is not going to go away. The people of Wally aren't going to go away. The people of the Strip aren't going to go away. We're here to stay, and we're here to fight for our rights and our homes. So let's do it, guys. Let's show these guys that we're not going anywhere.
You gotta get in where you fit in too, right? I mean, where the hell else you fit in better than here? Where we can go? There's nowhere better to fit in than here.
Exactly. So over the past month, people have been meeting over at the Red Braid office every week to plan this action and to plan the fight against gentrification of Surrey. And we came up with a few points of defense. The first point was stop the sweeps. So we know as gentrification increases, as rich people, as yuppies move into the neighborhood, policing increases as well. And we know that policing means criminalization of the poor, and especially a brutal attack against people of color, against black people and other racialized people. And that's what Sunny's here to speak about today. Because when we say defend Wally, we mean defend Wally against the cops, defend Wally against the bylaw pigs, defend Wally against the racial terror that people experience every day. It means fuck the police, it means defund the police, it means abolish the police. And that's what Sunny's here to speak about now.
They faked the funk with a suspicious death so they could fucking be
Hello everyone. How's everyone today?
No, they didn't do an autopsy.
Fuck the police! Fuck the police! Because I am fucking them really inside out this time.
Harvested maize, right? They didn't.
These fucking. Oh, I don't want to use profanity, but you know what? I am so raged out.
You be careful.
I don't know what it is. They don't train them real well, or they're just plain
You see down
dumb.
there? Lots of crazy shit going on.
I was in handcuffs.
I know.
Okay.
I'm on
Willingly
YouTube.
gave up.
I talk about it, right?
And I had a little R&R with the wife.
Walking with half the dead.
And I walked off. Cop came to arrest me.
Yeah, have to
And
fight, right?
I surrendered.
I got to fight for Ciera. I
I
got to
was
fight
in
for
handcuffs.
ShaMay.
My face was
I
smashed
have a
right
federal
into the
trademark
front
in Canada
grill.
and U.S. I'm out in the open.
Then all I
That's what
remember
that little
is
house was about, right?
being tased.
I'm going to be writing
for
Trump, calling the big boys.
goddamn reason.
Fucking right. Somebody
Not
said,
a single
why
swear
do you
word.
like Trump?
I
I said, well,
had
at least he's
cuts
thinking
on
about
my
doing
elbow,
Well, he
on
doesn't
this
do nothing
elbow,
for you.
under my
And I'm like, okay,
armpit.
well, maybe
I
you're
was
right. Maybe I should write him.
basically
So I decided to write him. I'm going to
or
ask him to
dead
give me
for
$100,000
5
to retain a lawyer
days.
because I've already filed a lawsuit with ShaMay. And I wrote in the
now
bottom of what
ICU
happened to Ciera.
unit
And if they fucking
at
try
Surrey
and blow me off
Memorial
again,
Hospital.
I'll just file another one on Ciera. Yeah, and if they let me talk, I'll tell them.
enough.
Illegal organ
Enough.
harvesting is like fucking
I'm
real out here
homeless.
because it's bullshit, right?
I'm 46 years
Yeah.
old. I lost my kids, my home, my family, and we're trying to just get back on our feet.
You fucking goof! You stay down there, you fuckers!
What gives them the right to assault homeless people that can't even fight or barely even provide for themselves? Let alone, you know, being assaulted by them. You know, but it didn't break my spirit.
That's right.
Came back stronger, Sonny.
I'm not gonna ever allow these assholes to break my spirit. Cause guess what? I'm coming back at you 10 times harder. I don't give a fuck if it's 10 or 20 of you fucks. Cause I am very, very angry And I do not appreciate being assaulted by you clowns, because I have it rough in life, but you know what? Doesn't give you no right to do that to anyone, man. We're human.
That's right.
We're not animals.
Deserve to be treated right.
I done 4 years in the pen, man. In the max, you know? Man, when I was 12 years old, they fucking took me away from my mom and dad and shit. I had to start hustling drugs and shit, and they called me a criminal, put me in jail all my life, you know? But you know what? Let me hear it. Yeah, yeah!
Yeah, yeah!
Yeah, yeah!
Yeah, yeah!
Fuck the police!
Fuck the police! Thank you, brother.
So
Okay, this is Maggie.
I'm here to talk about racism. The racism from just like everybody, the police, the system, pretty much everyone, you know. I had a job working at a fish factory, and because I wasn't the same race as this woman that I worked with, she insisted that I was a bad person, and she like treated me like a total piece of crap, and I was like, wow, right? And you know, I even got underpaid from my boss. You know, I figured just because of racism, because like, you know, it's just bullshit. Here I am, like, living on my own land and homeless. You know, I should have my own house. You know, like, you know, I'm just a minority in my own land, right? Which is like totally crazy because you know what? Okay, I had a few ups and downs in my life. You know, and that don't make me a bad person. That don't make me different than anyone else. Or, you know, I should be treated with equal rights, you know, and same with every other Aboriginal person. And the meaning of Aboriginal means like, you know, messed up, like, you know, not a good person. And, you know, when people look at people like myself and lots of other people who have Aboriginal blood in them, you know, like the word Aboriginal, think about it. I looked it up in the dictionary. It's not a very good word, and it shouldn't have ever been used. You know, like go back to the old saying, First Nations or, you know, Native peoples. Now they got this other word, which, you know, it just puts Aboriginal people down all the time, you know? Like, just because, you know, people have past and people have hardship, you know, it doesn't make anybody any different or give anybody any sort of right to treat us people like crap, you know? I'm not a person to be angry and hostile. I have good energy. I'm very, like, mellow, down-to-earth type woman. And, you know, like, I've had my life ripped right out of my hands. You know, the police, get this, okay, came to my house to remove my children from my home while I wasn't even there, okay? And the social workers are like, get my kids out the door. And the cop actually had the nerve to say that I was a piece of shit mother, actually to my own mother, which was like, wow, really, you know? And like, that's all racism, you know? Just because you think Native Indians, whatever, you know, if you look into our culture and our past, like, we're pretty interesting people, you know? You know, nothing's any more different, you know, but people will use Aboriginal Native peoples for status cards, which, you know, that's crazy too. It just doesn't make any sense, right? Either love for love, but don't hate, because it's not worth it. You know, it's so much more energy to frown than to just carry a smile. You know, I just, want to keep it short and simple because it's kind of emotional for me to think about all this, you know? But, anyways, have a good day, everyone. Thanks.
Woo. Thanks, Maggie. So next I'm going to invite Christina up to speak about fighting evictions, which is our second point of defense against gentrification. So our first point of defense is stopping the sweeps, and beyond that, fighting for the abolition of the cops, who serve as the who are the frontline warriors pushing low-income people out of this neighborhood and assaulting and harassing low-income people, especially Indigenous people like Maggie spoke about now. And our second point of defense is stopping all evictions, fighting all evictions, because we know that evictions aren't isolated incidents. They're not about an individual tenant being pushed out by an individual landlord. They're a threat that hangs over the heads of every single person who lives check to check, every single person who doesn't own their own home. And evictions here in Wally are a way that the city and the developers and the landlords are pushing poor people out of the neighborhood. So Christina's been through the ringer a couple of times. She's fought and won against evictions twice. Woo! Through legal and through extra legal means. So she's a badass woman and we have a lot to learn from her, and I'm going to pass her the mic now.
Hi, Christina.
Hi guys.
Christina!
I have been down here on the strip for 6 years now, I think.
I remember when you walked on.
I was one of the first people to set up a tent with a friend of mine that's passed away now. And this is the first place I really felt like it was home. Like I was more comfortable here than I was with my own family. And it's a sense of freedom. I guess it's a little bit of a false sense of freedom. You've got cameras and stuff, so, you know, it's not right in your face, right?
Move him. I'll see if maybe they got something over here.
Kind of fight for those guys too. But last year to help us and house us and take care of us and support us and make us better people, save our souls, I don't know, whatever. And about $6 million of that money, approximately, was spent on us. $24 million was spent on salaries and benefits. So, I mean, that's a pretty big chunk of money. Yeah, I think if you're collecting money to, you know, take care of people and help people, I think the bigger chunk of money should probably be spent on those people, you know?
Absolutely.
Not on getting rich for yourself and riding around Harleys and, you know? Take a look at some CEOs and the way they looked the first year of the modulars and the way they look now. It's, you know, you can see where the money's going. It's not going in our pockets. It's not feeding us. I haven't had breakfast in 2 years. Yeah, it's stupid. But you can fight evictions, right? Evictions. You can fight them. They made a sign when we first moved in there. They made a sign that the Residential Tenancy Act didn't apply to us. And I remember signing it and thinking, this is going to be a problem. And I got evicted over, I can't even remember what now, last August. I got an eviction notice. And I thought, no way, I'm not doing this. I'm taking it to, there's just no way that the Tenancy Act doesn't apply. I pay rent. I'm a tenant, right? I don't share a bathroom with the landowner. I don't share a kitchen with the landowner. That's what the Tenancy Act says, right? So I'm a tenant. So I went to arbitration and I filed, and I came back with my paperwork, and the staff called the cops on me because that's what they were told to do if I came back and didn't leave. And in the morning, the cops showed up. And because it was cops I had altercation with, violent physical altercation with, one threw me down from behind in my tent, face down at Christmas time a couple years ago. They didn't even bother. They didn't even look at the paperwork. It was just, they want you gone, you're gone, get out. They didn't lock my door when I left. I said all weekend unlocked until I could get in there and deal with my stuff. All my stuff got stolen. Yeah, and then the next 3 months, August, September, October, yeah, almost 3 months I spent sleeping outside waiting for my arbitration hearing instead of being inside where I should be waiting for my arbitration hearing. And almost everything I owned got stolen in the meantime. People coming in the windows. Staff stealing, that's the big issue. There's some big stuff going on there too. So but you can't fight them. It doesn't matter what you sign. You sign under duress, right? I didn't even have to use sign under duress, and I got to fight them anyways. But And then COVID comes along, and March 25th, John Horgan said that you cannot be evicted for any reason. And March 29th, I think it was, they bring you an eviction notice. And I'm like, what's crazy shit? It's COVID, right? You can't kick me out. So me and 3 other people wait out the eviction period. And I know from last time that if I don't let them in, then they can't kick me out. But if I let them in, or if I leave, then I have to get back in. They can't break in, I have to get back in properly. And so the cops show up a month later, and staff's at my door, bang, bang, bang. Time to go, Christina? I'm like, nope, not going. I barricaded my door. Barricaded my door, called my mom, all panicked. And together it was about 4 hours standoff with lookout staff and the cop. The cop actually told me that COVID doesn't apply here. Why does COVID apply to the rest of the entire world except for the TD Mod and Wally?
Magic virus.
What is
I've known Bill for how many years?
I'm not sure exactly when they plan on closing those ones down, but I know the TD ones are closed down at the end of August.
Wow.
And they don't have any place for these people to go. They're just going to try and shove them in the mods that are still going, that are still here. They just haven't put anything up for us yet, as far as I know. They got some things going down there, down by the that housing place down there. Can't remember the name of it. Down by Home Depot, but they're not for any of us. No, not that I know of. I don't know what they're going to do with us when they kick us out.
When the strip shut down, all that they could say in the papers was Surrey's ended homelessness. There's no homeless left in Surrey. They said if you found a homeless person in Surrey, that we would be we would get bills, debts. They would charge us with tickets, and obstruction, and third strike, we would actually go to jail.
Poor and homeless people face in Surrey.
All right, so there's some people here that know me personally, know Ciera, right? Ciera just recently died under suspicious circumstances on March 28th of 2020, 4 days after she was released from jail. Personally, I feel that she was targeted from jail and was lured into a position where she died due to more than likely fentanyl. But because we have a problem with illegal organ harvesting out in the province of British Columbia, Canada, I also feel that Ciera had a forensic autopsy done on her body, not because the cops were trying to figure out how she died or why she died. It was more like they needed an excuse to take her body to the Abbotsford Hospital so they could cut her open and take what they wanted. And because she had been in jail for 2 months, basically in, what is it called? You know, where they put them in solitary confinement? When she got out, she was clean. Okay, she was clean. So, you know, within 4 days of being released from jail, she didn't really have a lot of time to get back into her addiction and, you know, pollute her body with fentanyl. But let me tell you something. In the last 3 months, because I do listen to the province of British Columbia, Canada, and their Legislative House of Assembly spokespersons in terms of Dr. Bonnie Henry, Adrian Dixon, those kind of people, they're rattling numbers in terms of fentanyl deaths in the last 3 months. Okay, we're talking April, May, and June, 403 deaths. And they're trying to say that this is an anomaly because of the COVID-19, because of social distancing, and these guys that are going to work on the construction sites are so depressed and basically going home and killing themselves. Now that's a bunch of crock, because in 2017, we had over 1,500 deaths directly related to fentanyl. In 2018, we had almost 1,500 deaths directly related to fentanyl. In addition to, we have
what you call murder by fentanyl. It's called hot capping, or hot capping.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway, ShaMay Chorney, my other daughter, in April 11th of 2018, was murdered with fentanyl, and by witness, I can tell you, the RCMP, they covered it up, okay? They made it look like she was alive. They took her body to the hospital because that's where they're taking out organs. They hooked it up for 9 days after they illegally embalmed her. She rotted. And then they played it off like they were going to do a forensic autopsy, but by that time, 9 days, she was a beached whale. She was ready to explode. So the best thing that they could do was nothing more than a blood test. So you've got the BC Coroner Office, Fraser Health Authority, and any other health authority, right along with your local politicians, covering up murder by fentanyl as they're blaming the victims. And this all intertwines and interconnects with this, I call it political genocide. Some people call it genification. Okay? They don't target just the homeless people. They target innocent families with children. They go after the old people with the money, but the ones with no money end up out on the street. I've been a community activist for 20 years. I know what I'm talking about. I walk the walk. And my children, Ciera Chorney and ShaMay Chorney, has paid a huge price for this corruption that is in the city of Surrey. But it's not only isolated to the city of Surrey, it's all across the province, because we are being sold off to foreign buyers as they bring in their pollution and their poison to pick us off one by one without being held accountable. So anyway, I'm here, I'm standing with the people, my voice is loud, maybe I'm not getting out as far as I'd like to get there, but you can hear, I know what I'm talking about. Peace out.
Thank you.
It's a lot. It's a lot to digest. It's a lot. Everybody can think about that one.
We know that gentrification kills.
Everybody can think about that one.
Wally, that means defend the lives of the poor, the homeless, drug users, black people, indigenous people, against the attack that's orchestrated.
It's suspicion.
Attack, what do we do?
Okay.
Stand up, fight back.
So there we go.
Under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Native people under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
We're going to get to the truth of the matter on my channel, people.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Black people under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Black people under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Black lives matter.
Black lives matter.
Black lives matter.
All lives matter.
Awesome. So that's the spirit that we need to keep building. This is the organization that we need to keep building. We meet as community members of the street community, the mods and supporters, every single Tuesday. Overdose genocide, the genocide of displacement, homelessness, poverty, colonization, racism, and capitalism is by organizing and fighting back. The mods are at the front and center of that storm. They're being torn down in August, so there's an immediate wave of displacement facing this community.
Am I getting this right, people? You're tearing down the modules?
That's what I'm hearing. For condos.
It looks like Sunny has
All of them?
to say maybe you can close off the rally.
Oh no, they don't even house enough people. They couldn't even house Ciera.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to ask, if you have been assaulted by the police, do register up in Vancouver at Pivot. Pivot deals with corrections and as well as...
Here's your reality, people.
This way you get long enough
I know about this little group now.
And you get better results.
Yeah.
They supervise these people, and that's the people they actually really listen to. These people are the ones who make a difference. Put discipline into our CMP community or out of town even. Pivot will help you file through everything, what you need to know, what your rights are, what sections.
Guys, come stand out on the street. We gotta walk the street.
You know, being assaulted is not fun. I had interactions before. I've been harassed by these people.
They can't do nothing to us.
And, you know, instead of giving
All right, people, I know about this little group now. Right? So now that I know, I'm going to find some time to come out here and get the real numbers in terms of, apparently they're going to be tearing down some of these modules. They weren't even housing all the people out here with the numbers of modules that they had. They had those modules, and Ciera never once got not even a module for a night. Right? And instead, what did she get? Hunted down. These people are fighting for everything that is happening to innocent people out here. They're fighting against it. So anyway, I'm coming back. That's what I'm going to do.
Stop breaking any.
Yeah, I'm going to end it on this lady here, people.
Because tonight, well, like maybe less than a half an hour, I'm going to set up the first tent. We're going to take back the strip, guys.
Yeah! Take it back!
Because I'm tired of these guys pushing everybody around, treating us like we don't exist, that we're just some kind of garbage. So tonight, we are going to take back the strip.
That's right.
And then every Tuesday, you guys are going to come out to the office and sit with us, and let's keep going, keep it strong, keep organizing, and keep fighting back.
That's right.
Because they got to hear our voices.
That's right. People.
Okay.
People.
Don't forget, everybody. If you got a tent, go get it now, because we're gonna take back the strip, guys.
That's right. Hi, at the duty. Mayor-X.
Mayor-X, I know. I'm coming out on a Tuesday with my Mayor-X hat. Mayor-X.
Okay, so one
you heard it, Mayor-X.
she says people come meet her here if they want to be part of that. So if you're interested, if you're ready, if you're in, talk to Wanda, and we can see if we can make it happen tonight. Set it up and defend it. So why the hell not?
Where's your army?
I got a tent coming in like a half an hour.
You're gonna have to fight the military now.
Go, bring them on.
Poor people under attack. What do we do?
Fight back!
Homeless people under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. Tent cities under attack. What do we do?
Fight back! Fight back!
Awesome.
Right! Care to concern, then do something about it! Care to concern, then do something about it. That's what we need to do, right, Mayor-X?
That's right. That's right. Okay, people, this is where the Lions Legion used to be. This is what somebody was talking about. They're going to be building a high-rise here, 35 to 45 stories high, as well as it sounds like they're tearing down some of these modules out here, which wasn't even enough to house all the people that needed the housing. And I couldn't run the camera the whole time because my battery running low, right? I'm gonna get, now that I know where they meet once a week, I'm gonna make an effort to follow up on this stuff so that when I do my YouTube channel, you know, do my videos, right? I'm coming out with the with it from the horse's mouth in terms of what the people themselves are actually going through versus what the politicians and Dr. you know, Bonnie Henry and those types of people are telling the public through, you know, a public website called British Columbia, Canada, Parliament site, right? It's a website, you know, through YouTube, and shadow banning and deleting comments because they don't want to deal with the truth, right? In terms of, you know, they want you to fill out their survey, right? So they can cherry pick what they want to tell in terms of the public, but leave a comment on their public YouTube page as they're being paid by public tax dollars to give us information. You know, they'll just delete your comment. So now that I know, because I knew this shit was out here was funky. Somebody was saying, all kinds of people out here dying. Just nobody's reporting on it. Right? Well, we know why. Right? Because they're selling off British Columbia, Canada to foreign corporations and rich bastards. That's what they're doing. And they're targeting certain groups within the community. It's not just the homeless, right? It's women like me with children It doesn't matter if they're adult children or grandchildren. They're still gonna come after you. If they want your house, right? They want your body parts. They want something, your money, Uncle John, right? So anyway, whew. Okay, so I think these are the modules that they're talking about, because this is where the old dell used to be, right? I have me out here with Ciera doing a video as they were starting to tear down the dell, as the city of Surrey under Diane Watts, or it was during an election or whatever it was, the politicians that were in their little round tables having their discussions, they were going on about how they had created 368 permanent living accommodations for the people that are struggling out here in terms of homelessness and whatnot. And those numbers were included in with the dell, right? The only problem is they had already flushed everybody out, back out onto the streets, and we're tearing down the dell. And then this property sat empty for over a year and a half, 2 years, or whatever it was. NDP got elected, and then they came in with these modules that are like facilitated through the United States of America through some dude, right, that works with FEMA camps and those types of module housing, right? Hold on.